The following is the cinematic retelling of events that occurred with players who participated in Gamma Haven Beta's first wave of events. It is a concoction of each player's story rolled into one result. Listener's discretion is advised. Episode 1: A Glimmer of Beauty. Haven City. An ugly city. 7 days ago, it became uglier when a massive explosion in the sky released a wave of gamma radiation affecting every living organism in Haven. Scientists believe that all humans have been infected, but only a few cases report that some humans are showing signs of extraordinary hidden and dangerous power manifesting from within them. These individuals have either gone in hiding or carried on with their lives in plain view. Scene 1. Present time. North Haven, 7 p.m. Becky Bank Branch. A man converses with a female banking representative as she walks the man to the exit. "It was a pleasure seeing you today, Mr. Shade. We'll have your wires scheduled to go out in 2 business days. The woman chuckles politely. Onlooking customers waiting in line throw salty and jealous looks at the two, likely because Shade was ushered past the long line directly to the bank manager's desk for VIP service. Shade is a favorable client. The bank closes in 10 minutes. Shade leaves the bank. The camera pans over to a mysterious van off in the distance. Scene 2. Driving home, Shade remembered that he forgot to cancel a wire transfer and decides to call the branch as he's stuck in traffic. Traffic has been terrible due to the chaos of recent events. Shade calls the bank manager directly. They briefly begin speaking when suddenly gunfire and screaming is heard on the line. The camera cuts to 7 gunmen rushing the bank counters toting heavy, high-powered weapons. A security guard draws his gun, but not in time. A burglar fires a glob of blue goo from his rifle, which engulfs the guard entirely, sending him flying 10 yards into the wall. The guard can't move and suffocates to death as the goo constricts the more he moves. The burglar shouts with a mouthful of saliva, "Let that be a lesson, bitches! You move, you ooze! Show me the money!" The camera moves and cuts to the mysterious van behind the bank occupied by a getaway driver. He's picking his nose and catching one of those long snot strands and wipes it on the passenger seat. The camera then pans under the vehicle, showing a high-tech device attached to the underbelly, and it's blinking. From there, the camera pans out and zooms all the way across the street to the roof into the eyes of a mysterious man standing on the roof of a 3-story building. His eyes look altered and technologically enhanced as they spiral and make mechanical noises. This man is watching the robbery take place. Scene 3. South Haven. The governor's house. You see Gabe Gabucci, the governor of Haven, sitting at his table, sweating and chain smoking. He looks stressed, as do his advisors. One female advisor steps forward and speaks up. "Sir, we should evacuate the city just for now." A small girl looking about 15 years old yells, "Dad, no! Jennifer's birthday party is this weekend!" Gabucci shouts, "Both of you, shut up! I'm thinking." A security guard breaks into the room. "Sir, you all need to evacuate into the safe room. A hostile mutant has broken through the gate and is headed here at this very moment. Move, 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 move!" The governor, his daughter, and the advisors take heed and lock themselves into a secure, impenetrable safe room located in the home. The camera cuts to a hulking 8-foot man clad in muscles wearing what looks like a fancy velvet onesie with leopard print collar, charging across the lawn in berserking rage. Guards open fire and bullets rip into his flesh, but he appears unaffected. He gets hold of one of the guards and suplexes him into a stone statue, causing it to crumble into the ground instantly and fatally crushing the guard. The hulking mutant then leaps into another guard and delivers a chop into the man's abdomen, almost ripping him in half, as he then grabs and chokeslams that guard into the pavement. The mutant then leaps right through the wall of the second floor, right into the room containing the safe room, containing the governor. With one punch, the safe room door is demolished, and the governor and his party back into the corner in fear for their lives. Suddenly, the mutant's head ignites in flames, and he begins to scramble in agony, trying to douse the flames out. A calm voice reverberates through the room. No one else will be hurt by you today. A hovering man enters the hole in the wall and lands softly directly behind the hulking mutant. Air pressure begins to build in the room, causing book pages to flutter as currents of air work their way to both of the man's open palms. His fists close, and he unleashes a flurry of precise punches into the abdomen of the hulking mutant, while moving side to side, delivering body-shattering blows to all angles of the mutant's chest area. The air pressure was too much. It builds until an explosion occurs from within the chest as blood shoots out of all orifices of the mutant's head. His heart exploded, and he collapses like a fucking Jenga tower, ass up. The governor looks scared, but can recognize that this new mutant is no enemy of his at the moment. "Thank you. You saved me." The mutant looks at him and says, "Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't save you for your sake." He turns and then walks towards the hole in the wall and says, "Keep your daughter safe." The camera pans to the daughter's shocked face. Then it slowly pans to the corpse of the hulking mutant as a pool of blood slowly expands under its body. Scene 4. North Haven. Becky Bank Branch. A Max burglar is in the bank office ripping off the clothes of a female civilian. "Come on, Toots. Daddy needs to make a deposit." She bites his hand and he yells and uppercuts her over and onto the desk. One of his peers calls him into the room. He looks at the girl. "Bitch, you wait right there and you better not move." He walks away. The camera follows him as he walks toward the vault room. "Did you get the keys, man? Did you get the keys yet from her, man?" "I'm getting them now from the bitch. Give me a second, will ya? Or a minute, or two." He walks back into the office as a pen rolls off the desk and the woman is nowhere to be found. What the fuck? He turns to search for her when suddenly a man appears from above him out of the blue and delivers a swift, precise kick to the head, cracking his skull and knocking him unconscious. The camera cuts numerous times to unsuspecting burglars being taken out by a teleporting man with swift martial arts strikes from blind spots, all while teleporting hostages to safety out front of the bank behind the police vehicle with the police officer. The bank manager screams in joy, "Oh, Mr. Shade!" Shade tells the officer to call for backup, then he teleports back into the bank. One of the rescued hostages panics and runs to their vehicle. The camera cuts to the man on the roof. He smirks. The camera splits into two shots. The shot on the left shows the cop calling for backup. The right shot displays the civilian fidgeting with keys to get their car started. Fuck. They told me this would be easy. Fuck, they're gonna catch me. The cop yells, We need backup. Camera cuts to the man on the roof smiling. Then cuts to an officer receiving the request of the cop. However, the message is staticky and much different. All units, there's a hostile meta-human in the bank attacking civilians. Shoot on sight. I repeat, shoot on sight. A fleet of officers head there ready to kill. The officer out front of the bank taps his receiver. What's wrong with this thing? What is fucking static? The static stops. The fleeing hostage and now suspect gets the car started and begins to speed off. The camera cuts to the man on the roof's finger as it twitches once. The hostage's vehicle U-turns and speeds toward the cop crouched behind the cop car. The hostages see it coming and dive out of the way. The driver has lost control of the vehicle as it seemingly operates itself and hurls itself right into the cop, pinning him against the cop car in a bloody, dead pulp. Shade hears this and teleports out front to see the disaster. Shade gets a sharp feeling of danger and looks over to the roof across the street, spotting the man on the roof. What the fuck? Slightly surprised, the man backs up on the roof and out of view, pulls out C4 explosive, and throws a contraption down that produces a lifelike hologram of himself as he makes his way to the rooftop stairway down. Just as he gets ready to plant the C4, Shade appears behind him and delivers a paralyzing chop to the neck of the man, causing his pupils of his eyes to go white. Shade stands over top of the man's body, unconscious. He looks over and sees the hologram of the man pacing back and forth in an endless loop. The camera cuts to a news anchor explaining how the robbery at Becky Branch was thwarted by an unknown entity. Then the camera cuts to the unconscious man lying on the doorstep of the authorities, and behind him, a pile of 7 burglars, unconscious and broken the fuck up. The captain commands 2 of his officers to pick up the man and throw him in the jail. The captain says to himself, looks like there still is some beauty in this ugly city. Thank you for listening to episode 1 of Gamma, Haven, the Beta. Everything you just heard was the result of 3 players playing the game. So could you imagine if there were more? This game is all about story and fun and creating arcs and sagas. I want there to be history and rivalries between players. And it's all so very easy. All it takes is for you to tell me what you're doing and how you're doing it. I take that and I throw it against what that person is doing and how they're doing it. And then I calculate based on odds. But it all comes down to your role. If you win, what you say happens. If you lose, what they say happens to you happens.